Future perfect continuous tense. This is one of the advanced tenses in English language. This tense is also known as future perfect progressive tense. Future perfect continuous tense is a tense which is used to talk about the action which will be in progress for a certain period of time at a specific time in future. Future perfect continuous tense is also used to describe or indicate actions that began in the past and will continue to occur up to a certain point in time in future. Future perfect continuous tense lays emphasis on duration of time. If we go through the definitions, it may seem that this tense is difficult, but you will see that this tense becomes easy when you go through the certain examples which we are giving. So this tense is used to talk about an action which will be in progress at a certain time in future. Here is the example. Next April, I will have been studying in this school for 3 years. By 1 p.m., we will have been traveling for 6 hours. This tense is also used to talk about a continuing action before another action takes place in future. For example, by the time they arrive, my mother will have been cooking all the day. This is the action which will be going on in future before another action takes place. This is the action which will take place in future, and this is the action which will have been taking place already in future. Difference between future perfect and future perfect continuous tense. Future perfect describes an action that will end in future. For example, he will have worked for 8 hours by 6 p.m. This is the future perfect tense. This sentence suggests that he may quit working beyond 6 p.m. On the other side, future perfect continuous tense is used to talk about a continuous action in future but not necessarily finished. He will have been working for 8 hours by 6 p.m. Here, the stress is on the duration of working, that is 8 hours, and its continuity in future. Suppose if a person starts teaching in 2018 and we are here at November 2021. If we say that I will have start for 5 years by November 2023, this is future perfect tense. That is, I may leave teaching after November 23 or join some other stream. But if you say that by November 2023, I will have been teaching for 5 years, here the stress is on 5 years of teaching, and I may also continue with this profession in future. Here the stress is on continuity of action, that is continuous teaching for 5 years, and it is also possible that teaching may continue in future. Here are examples of some common expressions which are used in this tense. For example है by this Monday, by next week, by next month, by next summer, next winter, by 2025, for certain period of time, by then, extra. Now, important point to remember is that we are not to use stative verbs in future perfect continuous tense. In English, we have two type of verbs. First is dynamic or action verbs, and another are stative verbs. In this tense, we use only action or dynamic verbs. Dynamic verbs are action verbs, and its examples are work, eat, cook, learn, study, etc. Most verbs are dynamic. On the other hand, stative verbs are those verbs which describe a state rather than an action. For example, think, love, understanding, believe, hate, now, need. Here, no action is involved in these verbs. These verbs cannot be used in continuous form. So, let us see certain examples so that we may not commit any error while writing sentence in future perfect continuous tense. If we write, I will have been knowing him for 2 years, you will see that now is a stative verb. And we have already read that we are not to use the stative verbs in continuous form. If you have seen earlier videos on past or present, you will have observed that stative verb is not used in continuous form. So the exact writing will be I will have known him for 2 years. Here we will use the perfect tense, future perfect tense. Another example, she will have been understanding this lesson. Here understand is a stative verb. You cannot use it in continuous form. So we can only write this form sentence in this form. She will have understood this lesson. That is, use future perfect tense. Another example, he will have been liking. You cannot use like in the continuous form. So this sentence is again wrong. We can only use future perfect tense for this type of sentence. He will have liked this movie. Next, I, you, we, they, he, she, it, all these are subjects. Subjects are followed by will have been in case of future perfect continuous tense. Next, we see the formation of this sentence. Subject is followed by will have been. Then we use the first form of the verb. Then we add ing, and then comes the rest of the sentence. Now we will see the positive, negative, and question form of future perfect continuous tense. So, as already told, in positive, subject I, we, you, they, he, she, it is followed by will have been. Then comes first form of the verb. Then we add ing. I will have been working. You will have been working. Will have been working. If we talk about the negative formation, subject is followed by will plus not plus have been. That is, subject is followed by will not have been plus first form of the verb plus ing. You will see that simply in the case of negative we have added not here. So this is the subject I, we, you, they. They are followed by will not have been, and then comes verb first form plus ing. If we talk about the question form of the future perfect continuous tense, only we are to switch the order of the first two words of the positive sentence. This is the positive sentence. We have only shifted the first two words with them with one another. Will takes the first place, and subject comes to the second place. Here you can see will have taken the first place. It is followed by subject, and the rest of the sentence remains the same. We can also add the question words like what, where, how. That is, WH question forms may also be there. Here are certain examples of WH questions. What will you have been cooking? You will see that what have been written here and will take place second. Then comes where will you have been studying, how will you have been working there by next April. Changes to be made in the verbs. When we are to use the verb in future perfect continuous tense, we have to make certain changes. Let us see. In case of the most verbs, we are to simply add ing. For example, sing becomes singing, talk becomes talking. We have simply added ing. There are certain verbs which end with e. We have to drop e and add ing. That is, we will remove e. Smile, e removed. Live, e removed. Change, e removed. And we have added ing. Making, smiling, living, and changing. Then there are certain verbs that end in ie. For example, lie, die. Here we remove ie. By y, we add y plus ing. Y takes place of ie, and we add ing. Lie becomes lying, die becomes dying. Then there are certain verbs which follow the CVC pattern. What is the CVC pattern? C means consonant, V means vowel, C means consonant. In the English alphabet, A, E, I, O, U are the vowels, and all the other alphabets of English are known as consonants. In case of those verbs which follow the CVC pattern, we have to double the last letter and add ing. Let us see how it happens. We have to start from the last. This is consonant, A is vowel, L is again a consonant. So we will double the last and add ing. You can see in case of sit, T is also a consonant, I is vowel, S is a consonant. We have to make it add T plus ing. Sit becomes sitting. In the same way, knit is also follows the CVC pattern. Knit becomes knitting. You are to go through your books to find out what shape the verb takes place. You have to remember, because there are hundreds of verbs which have to be changed in ing form, so that we can use the same in perfect continuous tense. We have to remember the same after going through Google or through our books. Only then we can make use of the continuous form of the verb. You have to remember the same. Only practice can makes you perfect. Then there are certain contractions which are used in future perfect continuous tense. I will becomes I'll, you will becomes you will, we will becomes will, they will becomes they'll. He will becomes he'll, she will becomes. You will see that wi has been removed and apostrophe has been added, and both these two words have been made together. If we talk about the contraction on the negative side, I will not becomes I won't. Will not has been changed to won't. You won't, we won't, they won't, he won't, she won't, it won't. See example, by 9 a.m. I will have been flying for 2 hours. Here you will see that I will becomes I'll. By 9, I'll have been flying for 2 hours. If we talk about negative sentence, by 9 a.m. I will not have been flying for 2 hours. It becomes I by 9 a.m. I won't. Will not becomes won't. This is the contraction used. Note that these contractions are normally used in informal communication. That is, when we are writing a letter to our friend or to our relative, or we can use these contractions when we are making verbal conversation. That is, we are speaking with someone. on telephone, mobile, etc. These contractions are generally not used in formal business communication or in academic writings. Then there are certain common mistakes which we oftenly make while making use of perfect continuous tense. Let us see. By next year, I will have been understanding English for 1 year. Here you will see that understand is a stative verb. As already told, stative verb is not to be used in continuous form, whether it is present tense or past tense or future tense. So here we will are talking about future. So here we will use future perfect tense. By next year I will have understood English for 1 year. Next, I will have been studying here for 3 years. Here no time is given whether we are when 3 years will be complete. There certain be some deadline in future, that is by 2023, by 2025, by next week, by next month. So some deadline has to be there, which is not there when the completion of 3 years will be there. So here we have given deadline. By next month I will have been studying here for 3 years. This is the correct sentence. So never forget to add deadline or certain time in case of future perfect continuous tense. Next comes, we will have been traveling for 20 years. Here continuity of action is given, but when these 12 hours are going to complete, so here no time in future is given when the 12 hours will complete, or there is no reference of any other action when the 12 hours are going to complete in future. So we have given here reference of another action. By the time we meet him, we will have been traveling for 12 hours, or you can also write it as by 1 p.m. we will have been traveling for 12 hours. So here we have to given the reference of some deadline in the future or reference of some another action in future. Only then the correct formation of the future perfect continuous tense takes place. Next example, by November I will have been living here for 3 years. So here you will see that when we add live plus ing, e is removed. As you have seen, in certain verbs we have to remove e. When we add ing, live plus ing becomes living. So you have to remove e. By November I will have been living here for 3 years. Next, by next month I won't have been studying here for 1 year. You may read it continuously and you may not see the error. This is the error, won't. Here apostrophe is not given, so we have to simply add apostrophe in between n and t, and then the question sentence will become okay. Now we do some practice. By the time we reach India, we will have been flying. As you see that in this sentence we have to follow subject will have been plus verb first form plus ing plus rest of the sentence. By next month we will have been working in the same office for 5 years. By 10 p.m. we drive. We will have been driving. We will have been driving for 8 hours. By November, Hale have been studying for 6 years. Here you can see that contraction of he will has been used. So it is to be written as he will. Wi has been removed. Apostrophe is not there. He will have been studying there for 6 years. Next, rest of the sentence is okay. Only contraction has been written wrongly. By next April, I won't have been studying for a year. Here again, in contraction, apostrophe is not there. Next, when he retires, how long will he have been working in this school? You can see that in case of interrogative mark sentences, we have to only add question mark sign at the end of the sentence. Next, by 10 p.m. I will have been. You will see study. This is the first form of the verb. We have to add ing. Study becomes studying. I will have been studying for 3 hours. Next, when they arrive here, my mother. This is the interrupted action. That is the action when another action is that this action will happen when another action is already going on in will be already going on in future. This is the action which will be going on, that is my mother will have been cooking. Cook becomes cooking. When they arrive here, my mother will have been cooking lunch for 3 hours. Now we are to find the correct sentence in between these two sentences. Next month, they will have been knowing each other for 6 hours, 6 years. As you know, now is a stative verb. It cannot be used in continuous form, either in present or in future or in past. Here we have to use the perfect sentence, perfect tense of the future or past or present as the case may be. So next month they will have known each other for 6 years. Summary. By April, I will have been playing cricket for a year. This is the positive sentence. In case of negative, will not becomes I won't have been playing cricket for a year. This is the interrogative. Here only will have been taken to the first place. Will I have been playing a cricket for a year by April. Thanks for watching. If you like our course, please spare some time to give a star rating to our course.